What's going on, everybody? It is Monday night, 9:14 p.m. Eastern Time in Ontario, Canada, and it's another episode of Tonight in Haddonfield. In just a little bit, we're joined by the man behind Facci Cinema, Matt himself. But to get things started, it's the show and tell master himself, Mr. Mean Dean Renner. What's going on, dude?
What's up, everybody? Back on Monday night. More series talk, more physical media talk, and I have a very big show and tell for tonight. So I'm looking forward to getting into everything.
Yeah, me too. You know, it's probably not going to be the longest show ever, but we have a lot to talk about in a short amount of time. Tons of Halloween TV series talk. We tried our hardest the day that Mark Helwig's comments became public to get online. Just wasn't possible. We had the flu running through my family house. We thought it was food poisoning. Now looking back at it, probably would have been a good thing if it was food poisoning, but it wasn't. So we got on Sunday with some of the old guys that used to be on the channel often, and they gave their thoughts. And definitely we can dive into the Halloween TV series in a bit more specifically when we can realistically see this thing. But those of you that have been watching for the last several weeks or several months, you might notice that some of the points that that Helwig made on the series line up with some of the things that we've been mentioning here on the channel as possibilities, and obviously in reference to Steph Hutchinson's past work, or at least elements of it. And we'll dive into that and a whole lot more a little later tonight. But we're not going to waste any time here. So welcome. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. And Dean, over to you with Show and Tell, which will have a new name and a new logo and new graphics next week.
Yeah. All right. So, small backstory for this one this week. This was something I ordered way back in January. It was supposed to get, I think, a late February release, and showed up about early March for me. So this package comes all the way from Australia. I tracked it the entire way. It traveled for almost 2 weeks. So we're talking about 2 weeks travel time. It finally gets here. I get a delivered notification, and it is not on my doorstep. So I had to jump through some hoops and contact post office and some people and find out where this was at. But I was finally able to track it down. Thank God it wasn't lost or stolen. That would have been a whole nother headache. But coming all the way from Umbrella Entertainment. This is a new release. It's a 4K release. Something they're not really into that much yet, but they're starting to kind of dip their toe into 4K. So I was excited for this when this was coming out. Not the best movie, but this box set is just a monster to get into. So what I have from them is their brand new Super Mario Brothers 1993 limited edition, brand new 4K box set. And you guys can see this thing is packed to the gills with all kinds of stuff in here. Price point on this was about $100, and I think that North American or even other boutique labels should really be paying attention to this, because for $100 you get everything you see in there. And we're going to go through all this shortly. I'm going to try and get through it pretty quick because there's a lot to unpack in here. So where to begin? We'll start with the outer box, but let me get all of this stuff out of here to make this a little bit easier. So your outer box, nice rigid case. You've got artwork on the front and back of the Goombas and Mario, and then the nice big logo on the spine right there. So that is your outer case. Then we get into this guy here. This is your release here. This is the 4K case with the this comes with 2 Blu-rays, and I'll explain what both of those are shortly. You get artwork on the front and back. It says "Trust the Fungus." That is one of the kind of mottos in the movie, and that is what they named this set for its big 4K release. So we will get into this shortly. I'll cover this other stuff briefly, and then we'll dive into it once I get a little more time. So we've got 2 books in this set. This one here, as you can see, this is the scripts. If anyone doesn't really know about the behind the scenes, like mayhem and insanity it was to make this movie, we'll touch on it a little bit here, but there was multiple scripts and rewrites and miscommunication, and this movie was basically a nightmare for the talent and the production. So we'll touch on that a little more. But this is the scripts, and you can see the book is it's not very small. So multiple scripts in here. What else did they send us here? We got a small, like a sticker sheet, nothing too crazy, but you know, some Mario Brothers stickers. Nothing too much going on there. This was cool. This here is a reprint, you know, smaller scale, but it was a magazine, like a promo magazine from back in '93 when this movie was coming out. And they went ahead and not only got their hands on the rights to do this, they replicated it, I believe, like to a T. This is pretty much an exact replica, reproduction of this magazine from 1993. So that was just awesome to throw in there. What else we have here? Typical art cards. I'll do a quick walkthrough on those shortly. And then you have this beast of a book here. This is a collection of behind the scenes experiences and artwork. And again, you can tell this book is not small by any means. So all of this stuff packed in that box, I think that box weighs about 5 to 6 pounds. It is a heavy hitter. So this book is looking to be almost 500 pages just on the artwork and some other stuff. So about 480 something and some change. So almost a 500 page book. But I mean, $100 US price point. Shipping is a different story. That was pricey. I had to get this imported from Australia because it was a web store exclusive. So I couldn't get this anywhere else. So my shipping ran me about $40. So all in, you're talking like $140 for this entire set. But with everything here that we get, I think it is well worth the price. And then this is the final small little piece that they include. I will try to bring this up if you guys can see it. It's a replica film cell. And I think they did 5 designs on the film cells. And I lucked out. It's hard to see and come up on camera. But I got the image of them in the elevator finally near the end of the movie in their red and their green jumpsuits and plumbers outfits, finally ready to go at the end of the movie. So that was cool. I was glad to get that one because I don't know what the other few designs are.
In the before you get rid of all that stuff, in the script book, is it just reprints of the script, or are they taking photos of the actual sheets that were being worked on?
Let's see, because I have not. This is so new, and I had a busy work weekend. I haven't even been able to get through this, but it looks like reprints of script sheets, and then there is, I think, notes and stuff. So it gives us, there's an interview with Parker Bennett, and then it looks like 2 of the 3 scripts that are out there for this movie made it in here. So you have the original script and then a revised draft. So I'll flip through this since I have it in my hand. That's the interview portion. But once we get to the script pages, the interview is pretty long. A lot of questions. Where are we at here? Yeah, here we go. And then you have, this is the beginning of the first script, and you get total reprints of page by page the entire thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was a selling point for me, and then that other book as well. So you get, like I said, you get 2 scripts in here, which was just an awesome inclusion. So very cool to have that. Let's dive into the slipcover and the 4K really quick. So here is your slip, which I showed off briefly earlier, with the double artwork, which is very cool. Then here's your 4K case, original poster art. What I like about this is Australia has like an interesting, like a ratings logo thing where they kind of, I think it's a legal thing. They have to include it on their covers, but they'll print double-sided covers, and then you can flip it the way that I did. And then normally that age logo would be about right there, and you can flip it so that it's not on your front cover. So I like the fact that they do that. This is a 3-disc set. So this is your 4K copy. This is your Blu-ray copy with the special features on it. And then this 3rd disc, I think, is exclusive to this set, was a newly found work print version of the movie, which is, I think, about an hour long than the theatrical cut. So they included the work print as well. So that's really cool. I've never seen this work print in any capacity at all. Then we have posters. So we get more stuff. So this looks like the international. Yeah, this is the international Japanese double-sided poster. So you get this one here. And when you flip it around, it's got this other one here. So that's the Japanese posters. And then these ones, I believe, are just the regular North American, the original posters. So you get this one on the one side with the big quote, and then you get the the traditional theatrical poster on the back, summer '93. So even more stuff packed in here that when you think they couldn't fit anymore, you get all of this stuff. So I will jump to the special features next because they did a few, but nothing too crazy over the top. So there's a couple of audio commentaries. Looks to be about 3 or 4. Yeah, there's about 4. And then there's deleted scenes. There's the trailer. And then it goes into the work print. So there's even more special features on the work print version. So they put all of like the other behind the scenes stuff with the work print, which is really cool. So they did the This Ain't No Video Game featurette. There's a making of, academic featurettes, storyboards. Looks like a mock-up rap music video with a couple of characters. Anti-Koopa protest music video. That's pretty funny. A collection of the archival Japanese trailers, a collection of the archival commercials, archival cast interviews and behind the scenes footage, and then stills, storyboards, and concept art galleries, all packed in on the Blu-rays themselves. So that is all of the special features for this. So they actually packed in more than I expected. What else do we got over here? Let's go back to the art cards, I guess, really quick, because there's not many. There's a few. So this is, your typical art card stuff. It's all still shots from like within the movie. I don't think there's anything behind the scenes, but we'll breeze through these really quick. For anybody that's not seen the movie, like I said, it's not a great movie by any means, but to hit the nostalgia bell, I think this works. Yeah, just some great shots, all from within the movie. And then that is one that I actually don't recognize. I wonder if that's like a concept image or something. That's cool. And then I will briefly cover this big old art book because, like I said, it's about 500 pages. So, and I haven't even got a chance to look at this yet. So we're all seeing this together for the first time. So we've got character mock-ups. That's cool. Yeah, all the concept art images and stuff for all the different characters that would have been in the movie that they kind of redesigned, didn't do. More and more drawings. Ton of stuff in here. It's basically, like mock-ups of the set. Regular pencil concept art. Tons of stuff in here. This is a beast of a book. Storyboards, just all kinds of stuff. And I believe they go into like the posters and stuff near the back of this book. Let's see if I can find them real quick. Yeah, tons of set photos, behind the scenes. Here's a production interview. All like the special effects are in here too. Final shots from in the movie and some of the like the vehicle designs and stuff. What else do we got in here? Yeah, all kinds of just behind the scenes, some costume stuff, some of the weapons, mock-up of the newspaper, more of the production interview back there, and then more concept designs of the Goombas. And this is the cool stuff right here. This is behind the scenes with like the special effects and the way that they did some of this stuff. I'll try to bring that in a little closer. So some production design stuff. Let's see if there's any more. Yeah, some of the animatronics and stuff. So all kinds of behind the scenes on how they did like everything for this. So this is packed. This is packed full of stuff. I'm going to have to take my time and look through this. And I want to see if there's posters in here in the back. Don't see them. I thought they did. And there's more interviews in the back too. So yeah, without taking up too much time, I'd be here talking about this book for another 20 minutes. But yeah, that is the Australian import Super Mario Brothers from 1993 4K set from Umbrella Entertainment.
I think there's a lot of people that would say the art book itself is probably worth $100.
Yeah,
Also, hey, there's probably people out there that are diehard fans that would have paid $100 just for the work print. Especially
probably,
with
because
so
I haven't seen that work print. I've heard it was floating around. I have never seen that done anywhere before, and I think if I read it on the back somewhere, I think they restored it at least in like HD, so it's somewhat Blu-ray quality. But I haven't had a chance to pop that in and check it out yet.
it is really a mammoth sized set that you couldn't ask for any more if you're a diehard fan. Which is kind of unfortunate in a way because there's a lot of other better movies out there that
Yes,
deserve sets like that and don't
right.
get them. I seen
And then we get this beast for all of all movies, Super Mario Brothers.
seen that our guest that's coming on here in a couple minutes said that he enjoyed this movie growing up. This is the first movie that I had ever seen in a movie theater as a kid.
Oh wow!
And let me tell you, I fucking hated it.
Yeah,
I would have been like either 5 or going on 5, and obviously into playing the Mario video games. So in your head, you get one thing in your mind, and you're not watching trailers or movie previews as a 4 or 5-year-old kid, and you go see the movie, and it's just absolutely nothing to what you could have pictured. And yeah, it was my first experience ever at a movie theater, so it definitely brings up some nostalgia. But I have nothing bad to say about that set. That set makes me envious because it's a bunch of properties that I love that I wish would get that kind of dedication given to them.
Yeah, that treatment was that was shocking to see that they went into that level of detail on not only just any release, but like for something like Super Mario Brothers, which like I have another Blu-ray of it, and then I have like a Region B that was a random import from somewhere else that I couldn't play when I got it. So that was a case where I ordered a Region B by accident. I had to track it down again, found it on Blu-ray from Umbrella, and then they announced this 4K set back in January. And I never expected anything to the level of extent that they went to do that box set for that movie. So then I saw the price point at $100, and I'm like, I've paid more for Scream Factory releases with just like posters and some extra slipcovers, and to get all of that in there, and like I said, the weight of it, that thing weighs like 5 or 6 pounds, like it's heavy. So $100, you can't beat that. So for me, that was like a must own for this collection.
Yeah, it's impressive. I'm a behind the scenes geek. I guess my 3 biggest passions in terms of watching things would be Star Wars and then Halloween and Game of Thrones stuff. And like whenever I get any chance to just brush up on extras of anything about those, I do. And if you're a Mario fan, whether it's a gaming fan or just a fan of everything Mario does, or just a fan of the movie, like it's kind of like a holy grail type acquisition, really.
Yeah, because we're not getting anything like that from here in the U.S. for that. We I don't even know if we've gotten a domestic release for that since like DVD. So if you want that, that's gonna be hard to find. It was limited, and it was limited to, I thought it was 250. It's actually 2,250. So they are out there, but I believe they're sold out from Umbrella, and you may have to trek to eBay. And the last time I checked, that was being resold on eBay at Canadian pricing for $700 already. Yeah.
That sounds like a quick way to divorce town for me.
Right.
Anyways, without further ado, our guest this evening, we know he's got a bit of a time limit. I don't think him and I have been on the same stream together in probably a couple of years, but he's the mind behind Facci Cinema and good friend of the channel. It's Matt. How's it going, buddy? Long time no see.
What's up, man? Good. How are you guys?
What's up, dude? Haven't talked to you in a while.
I know, man.
Yeah.
It's been a while. How
Yeah,
you guys been?
Hanging out on tonight in Haddonfield, talking shop, getting into some movies and stuff.
Love it.
Dean's physical media rubs wearing off on me. What can I say?
Yeah.
Actually, let's start there. So let's start there. Physical media. I know you guys are both into it. I was watching Matt a little while ago open up it's like this custom, I think, Halloween 2 set that you were opening up, which just looked incredible. I believe that was a gift from one of your viewers on your channel.
Yep.
Nice.
So like that's incredibly generous, and it looked fantastic. The artwork on it was amazing. Let me ask you both this, and we'll give it to Matt first. Physical media, hard to come by, even up here in Canada. It's really hard to find in person. I prefer like collector's editions myself. Anything that's going to include more stuff in it,
Mhm.
I'm interested in. What do you guys look for when you're looking for physical media? Because obviously, like something like Star Wars or even the Batman stuff, there becomes so many different versions of it and so many different
Yeah.
collector sets, if you will. What pushes you across that line? What are you looking for to make a purchase that sometimes, goes into the three-figure territory? Matt?
Well, pretty much anything Halloween related, I'm gonna buy. So really, other Halloween has nothing to do. It doesn't really matter what it is Halloween related. I'm gonna buy it. Like that. It wasn't 100 triple digits, but that still book of the David Gordon Green trilogy box set. I already had all three of them prior to it. I said I wasn't gonna buy it. Kept saying I wasn't gonna buy it. Kept seeing everybody posting about it, and I was like, screw it. I'm gonna buy it anyway. So I bought. I had to have it. But if it's a steel book and it's a movie that I am interested in or a movie that I love, I'm definitely gonna buy it. No matter what the price is, probably. I would love to get it 4K, preferably, but that's not really like a. It's not really gonna break the deal if it's not. I'm not that crazy about 4K. It's beautiful, obviously, if it is, but it's not going to break the deal if it isn't. But steelbook is a must. I don't go out to buy anything that isn't a steelbook. That's just me. That's just my preference. I like the artwork on them. I know a lot of people love the special features when it comes to physical media. I personally don't care. It's not something I care about. I only care about the outer case, what it looks like, the artwork, and just having it because I know it's not going to be there forever. And I know once they're gone, they're gone. So I like to just know that I have it and no one's going to take it away from me. So that's what I look for.
Yeah, that's me too. I love the steelbooks. I haven't written off Blu-ray yet. I know some people, they get into 4K and they're like, I want to go 4K for everything, but not everything is available in 4K yet, and it's
Yeah.
pricey to do that stuff. So I became more open to it. Like I jumped into 4K and started buying 4K left and right, and then kind of realized like, well, with 4K coming out and becoming more popular, Blu-rays are going down in price a lot. So
Yeah.
Blu-ray pricing started to drop, and you were finding like great collections and great stuff for, oh, I don't know, anywhere between like the $15 to like $25 range. I remember
Mhm.
I found the Leprechaun set for like $18 in Best Buy one day. Had to grab
Yep.
that. They're classics, so I had to pick those up. And yeah, like as far as like price points for Blu-ray, once 4K really started picking up, that was more of a reason to keep buying. And then, with these 4Ks that I do get, I tend to look for collector's editions most. That's like first and foremost, because we get shafted here sometimes. We get like a real basic edition,
Yeah.
and we don't get a whole lot with it. So I'll start checking like import releases and other stuff and see what I can get my hands on. And, price wise, what it's going to cost me. Shipping fees sometimes are such a pain. I try to look for places in the States that import this stuff,
Mhm.
and then they kind of take that weight off us, and then I can pay domestic shipping. And like that Mario said, I just paid like $40 to have shipped here. Like,
Damn.
so all in was like, it was like $140. And then it almost got lost. Like, thank God I tracked that down. Yeah, I got got the delivered notification the day that it was supposed to be here, and I go check my doorstep, and it's not there. And I'm like, all right, maybe in an hour or so it'll show up, and then nothing. I'm like, I'll give them till tomorrow. Nothing the next day, and then finally I had to call my post office and be like, "You guys delivered this, but where is it?" And the operator was able to pull up like the GPS location of where they delivered it. And I live on one end of my street, and they delivered it to the opposite side of my street. So I had to go knock on someone's door and wait to see if they were going to answer, so it didn't look like I was being a porch pirate and just stealing stuff off their step. And then they weren't home, so I'm like, all right, what am I doing here?
Damn it.
So overall, I had my wallet with my ID in it just in case anybody asked. So I was like, I'm just picking this thing up and bringing it home. So that was fun jumping through some hoops to get that here.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's a good place to go with this. I dread ordering online. I was telling Dean before he ran into this issue here that, like, in my lifetime, like, I would say there's a very high percentage, at least much higher than it should be, when you order something online, it doesn't come to you either at all, or goes missing for a while, or it doesn't come to you on time, or it's damaged, or they send you the wrong thing. And then, I just ordered the House of the Dragon 4K set, brand new. It got here, and thing was damaged as shit, like beat up all over. You could tell someone had, like, taken an X-Acto knife and sliced it open and taken the digital codes and all the inserts. And it was just like, are you kidding me? And then you run into your issue too in the same week. And it's like, it really, I was whining and moaning and bitching about a physical media store back home where I grew up. They have things that are in their store right now that are listed as 10% off, which doesn't even save you the taxes up here in Canada. But like, it's $70-$80 more than buying it from like Amazon or something. And it's like, but then, you at least you're picking it up in store and bringing it home with you, sort of thing. Like, do any of you, I mean, Dean, I kind of know your answer, but Matt, have you ever worried about ordering anything online? Any awful experiences you want to share with us?
Honestly, I don't think I've had any personally. No, I usually get everything, and if I usually buy stuff from Amazon, and they're usually they're pretty good about it. They'll just resend me out something for free or whatever, and if I don't get it, and then it gets to a certain point though, and then they think I'm lying, so then they won't just send it out, and then I gotta wait, file a dispute and whatever. But for the most part, no, I really haven't had any problems. Get stuff when it's supposed to be here. My mail lady's really good. My FedEx guy, since I'm a FedEx guy, I see him all the time, so I talk to him, and he lets me know when I got deliveries, and he tries to give it to me whenever I'm on road, but I just tell him to just drop it off at my house and tell him where to put it. So it's usually pretty good about that stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't had too many horror stories except for this one with the Mario Brothers set, thinking it was lost or stolen. And then my Godfather set, like, I was stoked to get that and opened it up, and then inside, like, pages were ripped, and the disc holder sleeves inside the book that it came in, they were all ripped. I had loose discs floating around all over. So they were running risk of getting all scratched before I even was able to have them and check them out. Luckily, that was Amazon, so I just right away I opted for a replacement. They shipped that out right away. Got the replacement the next day, and then I just took like a couple days to return the first damaged set. But besides that, I usually without issue get most of my stuff, no problem. And as far as damaged stuff, I haven't had too many damages show up. If it's like a broken case, I'll buy replacement cases and I'll just switch it out instead of going through the headache of like ordering a new one and waiting, and then maybe that one shows up damaged too, and then I'm jumping through hoops to replace stuff. Cases are pretty easy to come by if you know where to get them, so I'll do that. I'll just get replacements and swap stuff out. And steelbooks, I've only gotten like minor dents and dings on certain ones every now and then. And I just chalk that up as like it's kind of bound to happen depending on how it's shipped. So yeah, but for the most part, I luck out. I get my stuff in pretty good condition.
Well, I mean, I wish I could say I'm as lucky as the two of you have been, but definitely not the case. Again, if I can pick it up in person, then I prefer to do that. I'm old school that way, I guess, but the ability to do that in person is significantly less than it was even 2 or 3 years ago than it was, let alone 10 years ago, right? So, we do what we have to do to get by. Pretty big news dropped on Friday. We've been talking about it on this channel for a while. And that is the head of Miramax spoke about the new Halloween TV series. Mr. Hellwig went on to say, we're on a fast track. It's a big priority for us. We've had lots of exciting conversations in recent months with a number of really talented people, and I think we'll have a pretty good idea of what we're doing very soon, Hellwig said, adding, we're hoping to lock down the creative team very soon. It's a big world. The most recent trilogy culminating with Halloween Ends provided a fitting conclusion to the story. I think, for that story, it might have. So I don't think it's an opportunity to go off the back of that. So right there, any discourse there's been about continuing with Corey or finding a way to resurrect Michael or just following that story, it is not happening. If there's anything that you can take ironclad from, this interview, it's that. There will be no continuation of David Gordon Green's Halloween story, at least at this point in time. The foundation of it is the original film, the John Carpenter movie, the characters of that film, and perhaps a group of characters that we haven't really focused on that much in recent versions or even a number of them. It's a creative reset, completely going back to the original film as opposed to spinning out of any more recent film adaptations. So you read that, Dean. I want to go to you first because you haven't got a chance to talk about this. How does that line up versus what we've talked about? And, in your opinion, what are they telling you this thing's going to be?
So for us, I think we've kind of hinted at this is going to be the most realistic starting point for them is go back to the beginning and start fresh in some way, shape, or form. When I read this, I got two takeaways from it, and one right up front was like, oh, they're going back to 78, so they're using that for like the basis and the formula, and we're probably going to get back into the world of 78 and continue from points that we know. However, reading it again and kind of letting things set in a little bit and then hearing some other outside opinions, another one that makes sense is even though we're revisiting 78, and I mentioned a couple things to you briefly over the weekend, Sean, is I think this puts 1963 back in play. Obviously, 78 is their base and like their foundation here. And this is going to kind of explore characters that we might not have met before, or maybe name mentions that have come up that we might be familiar with that have gotten like no type of fleshed out story. So I was thinking about this, and I'm not really sold on like what exact direction they might go, but I was thinking like they might bring in some background characters that we don't know anything about, and they might try to build off of that and take us in a new direction with these new characters that might still be tied to Haddonfield and still have either knowledge of what happened in 78, or it might happen somewhere between the 63 and 78 timeline. I was thinking maybe we might get Mr. Nichols, like the hardware store owner. We might hear something about him and they might come up with a story for him. He's an older guy with a wife and kids, and they've lived in Haddonfield, and maybe they have some type of crossing with Michael at some point. Maybe even the guy that owned Phelps Garage. He's another one. Like we might hear something about him. Other characters, I don't know. I think Loomis that's kind of a touchy subject if you're going to do anything with Loomis, because you have to cast that right. And you have to make sure that like whoever's filling those shoes has to do a damn good job. I think we're all a little burned down on Laurie Strode, so maybe we steer clear of Laurie. And then I don't know, Annie and Linda, they could be a play bracket. So you have characters that are still around in that world, and they're negating, it sounds like, Halloween 2 again. So we're back at the starting board. So it'll be interesting to see like what direction they go, what characters they decide to give us, and what story that they're going to light up and tell us within the series.
Where does it hit for you, Matt? What do you think it means moving forward here?
What I'm hoping it doesn't mean is a straight up like prequel. I don't want to know what Mikey was doing, between the ages of newborn to 6. I don't need to see that. I mean, it maybe just like a tiny glimpse.
Yeah.
See what his parents were doing, see what they did after he killed Judith back in 63, but don't linger on that forever, because I don't really know how exciting that would really be, to be honest. Focus on 78. I really think it's probably going to hit fans differently, but I think they should focus on Loomis a lot, actually. I mean, it's going to be separate. Well, I guess it's going to be connected. I don't know how they're going to do that, but they have to. He's a big part of obviously the first movie. they gotta mention him, and he's gonna be there. I just don't know who they're gonna get to fill those shoes.
Right.
I've heard, I know people throw out Ethan Hawke a lot. That's the name that I've been hearing thrown out a bunch of times. I mean, I'd be down for it. Ethan Hawke is great, so I mean, I wouldn't mind it. You know, focus on brackets there. Obviously, he's gonna find out Annie's, you know, dead, so we're gonna deal with that aspect of it. You know, and like you said, focus on Lori. Forget that. I don't want to see that again. We've done it 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5,000 times. I don't want to see it again. I mean, like, you could mention her, but don't linger on Lori again.
No.
And you'd have to recast it as well. Again, it wouldn't work. I don't think. Just focus on some new characters. You know, there's other people living in Haddonfield besides the people that were in the first movie. So, you know, focus on how they were affected by what happened that night, if at all, or what they think of what happened, and just go from there. But I mean, I'm excited to see what they do, what they bring to the table, good or bad. It's just nice to have some kind of Halloween product on the horizon.
Yeah, you know, I think this is going a couple of different ways. I think the most likely way is if you read Taking Shape 2 and what Steph Hutchinson pitched in his reboot trilogy. I don't think we're getting the fires of Sam Hain, if you will, or the fires of Samhain. I don't think we're going that supernatural or that, you know, Halloween-esque. But his concept was to go back, start from scratch, but you still have your legacy characters. It simply doesn't mean they're going to take the same path as they did before. You know, it's almost like a choose your own adventure. It's the DNA of the original film in terms of how it's being presented, and where Michael's at that point in time, or the Shape's at that point in time. But I think that the Steph Hutchinson thing's on the table here. I think you could get Laurie again and Annie again and Brackett and various other characters, but that doesn't mean that Laurie is going to be the exact same, or Annie's going to be the exact same, or Brackett. You know, just like in the Hutchinson reboot trilogy pitch, you know, Laurie dies in the first movie. You know, Laurie could die 2 episodes into an 8-episode season. And then it's like, well, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Well, this isn't the Halloween we knew. And I think that's exactly what it needs to be, is not the Halloween we knew. You can have the Dean Cundy-esque shots and have Carpenter and company working on the score, which sounds like might be the plan. But I do think that you can retell the Halloween story and not take the exact same blueprint or path that you did in the original film. Because personally, I don't want to see that. Like, is there the chance that they just retell 78 in long form storytelling to add more depth to the characters and you get some slight minor differences? It's possible. I wouldn't rule that out. It's probably more possible than just having 78 serve as your platform, and whatever we get is after that. I don't think that's what they're doing. I know a lot of people have said that. I don't think that's where they're going with this. I think when they say going back to the original film, it's just, you know, what that original film was, and its presence and its DNA and how it was constructed. But I really believe that the best route here is to do a retelling. And I think when you look at that article, I have it highlighted right now, and perhaps a group of characters that we haven't really focused on specifically that much in recent film versions. Well, you know, Loomis had his little cameo there in Halloween Kills, but they couldn't do much with it because it really wasn't an actor playing the role. To me, this screams Loomis. This screams, okay, we're going to go tell a story from Loomis's perspective now. And there's so many ways to cast it, right? No offense to the late great Donald Pleasance. He was incredible at what he did, and he touched the lives of so many and left a body of work that will be praised upon for many years to come, long after we're all gone. But there are other really good actors out there who are capable of providing gravitas and nuance to a role that still honors what Pleasance did, but also makes it their own. Like, I think Barry from Wolfman's Got Nards put out the Liam Cunningham thing. Like, I'd be all over Liam Cunningham as Loomis. He was incredible in Game of Thrones, and his acting range is phenomenal. But take the one names aside. I know you mentioned Ethan Hawke, Matt. There's going to be 100 names we haven't even thought of that would be really good if they have the material to work with, right?
Mhm.
So, um, give me a Loomis POV story. Tell us the story from his perspective. In Steph Hutchinson's reboot trilogy, and again, that's a name that we think might be involved with what's going on here. He gave Loomis a family. You
Yeah.
know, Loomis had stakes. He wasn't just the crazy doctor,
Mhm.
doing his job. There was stakes for him too. And I think when you add that into it, it changes everything. Whether you, in terms of Steph Hutchinson's work, if you guys are probably familiar with him, and you don't realize it, is he didn't just make pitches on a Halloween 3D movie and a Halloween reboot trilogy. He's the guy behind Halloween Night Dance. He's the guy behind Halloween, the first death of Laurie Strode, the first two issues there, and then the third one never came out. So the guy has experience in this franchise, and it certainly sounds like they're at the very least cherry picking off of an idea he had. Now I know this is a bit of a tangent, but Matt, I don't know what you know on Halloween Returns. Dean, I know you and I covered it, but like if you do go sequel route, there's no reason you couldn't really turn the Halloween Returns story into a long form, TV show. It still
You
allows
could.
you to go back to 78 and advance from there.
You could really. It's like they said, 78 is just like the starting line. Like you could take this anywhere you want to go, do anything they want to do. Kind of like the same thing with the Crystal Lake series. Start at the beginning and then just go wherever it wants to go. Take it. It's all going to be new and fresh. It doesn't have to be the same stuff that came before. It could be totally new. Obviously, the fans are going to criticize it because that's what we do, unfortunately. But do what they should do. What they want to do, not do. It's kind of not do what they think we want them to do. Try
Mhm.
something different. I mean, they did with Halloween Ends. Half the people hated it. Half the people didn't. What do you got to lose? I mean, you just we either don't get it Halloween or we get Halloween. Somebody else will pick it back up and try again. So
Yeah.
it's going to keep coming back regardless. There's money to be made.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. They have a little bit of a safety net here because it's a streaming series, so it's gonna get picked up by someone, and it's gonna be streamed. So your money is sort of made with that. Now they're gonna, benefit off the viewership, but that's, to Matt's point, they can go many different directions. Don't give us a retelling blueprint of 78. If we want to watch 78, we'll watch 78. So do something different and try some new ideas. Maybe try a couple of different ideas across a couple of different episodes and kind of see what works and what doesn't. I think you can fit the Charlie Bowles story into one or two episodes, and we can finally hear the end of that,
Oh yeah.
because it gets cut off, with Loomis at the cemetery. So we hear the first part of that story and it's never been finished. So instead of spending an entire season or anything on that, I think you knock that out in an episode or two, and it kind of adds an element into the series. It makes it interesting, and you could tell like a two-part story within that, and then still continue and branch off into whatever other direction you're going to go. If Steph Hutchinson is going to be attached to this, the guy's creative as hell and can definitely steer this thing down a couple of avenues that I think fan base will take well to. And it could very well be different, but appealing is probably the best way that I could put it. So he's probably front runner that I would like to see kind of tackle this project at best.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think he has the qualifications to be the showrunner per se.
Mhm.
But now in Hollywood, after the writer's strike, you have to have a writer's room. It's not an option. So,
Right.
being he's written before, it would make a lot of sense if he was a part of that. So, let me ask you guys this. So the article says, going back to, basically the DNA of the 78 film, they could technically do that and still make it a modern film. They could fast forward several years, or they could say that, okay, well, this stuff with Michael Myers didn't happen in 78. It happened in 1998 or something.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of cheapness or affordability in terms of production, it is cheaper to shoot something that feels like it's part of today than
Yeah.
it is to go back and make everything feel like it's part of 1978. You start to get into escalated costs. That being said, given, the route the article goes, are you guys hoping they decide to make this a period piece where, we're not getting 10 minutes in 1978, but we're getting 8 episodes based from 1963 through maybe the early 1980s. Is that something you guys would be for? Do you think they'll do, or do you think they'll go the cost-effective route and just have it based in today's reality?
Go ahead, Matt. Take a stab at it. If you want.
I think the beginning of the show definitely going to stay 63, 78 for at least 2-3 episodes, and then I'd probably see a time jump. I don't know if it's going to jump the whole way to today. I could see maybe the 90s. But I mean, I wouldn't mind it staying in 78 the whole time. I'm not opposed to it. The flashback in Kills was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked fantastic. So I'm not opposed to watching a whole series look like that. But I just don't think they're going to do that for a whole 8-10 episode series.
Yeah, it's like Sean said. I think that becomes more more costly. So you have to set the whole thing back in that era. You have to do all that set design. You got to bring things back to the 70s and find streetcars that look like that, depending on how far they're trying to go to make it look like the 70s. So that drives your cost up a lot for production. I think a safe bet is maybe set the first few episodes back between that 63 to 78 time period, develop some stuff for us, and then time jump up to late 80s, early to mid 90s. And like my original kind of series pitch was to bring it up to like the 90s, and then go off into like a detective based kind of story with what's going on with Michael, and have the detectives, investigating the murders and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I think, like Sean said, it's easier and better for the budget if you go at least a little more modern. I think it's easier to bring it up to like the 90s, and you can pull off the 90s without that high budget cost, and it works a little better instead of trying to go back so far.
Yeah,
because it's just going to drive your budget up so much.
I put something in our private chat on StreamYards, guys. Really quickly here before I got to step away for a second. We had heard, and I know we're not the only ones that heard, because Jimmy Champagne had something on it too, that there was a strong possibility we were going to get a movie first that then leads into a TV series. And yet when you look at some of the articles that have come out, it seems to suggest that it might be the series attempting to lead into some movies, which is definitely unorthodox and usually doesn't work out well that way when you're trying to go from the small screen to the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
There's not very many examples of that working out particularly well. There's several examples of something starting on the big screen and then following up on the small screen, the most recent one being the Batman, and now we got Penguin coming, I think, very, very soon. Where do you think this begins, guys? Do you think you can begin as a series and build up to a cinematic event, or do we need to start in the cinemas and work to the small screen?
I think being that we just were at the cinema for 3 movies in 5 years, I think they're going to let that rest for a little bit, as much as they probably want to put it there. Yeah. I think they're just going to run with TV for a little bit and then jump. I mean, it's always going to be there. People will go to the theater to see a Halloween movie.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't really matter. So that's why I think.
Yeah, it's we've been back and forth with the idea. We were strong on like, okay, series first. That's what they announced first. That's probably what's coming. And then, we got little hints that maybe a movie would come first, because they probably want to develop some kind of like 90-minute movie and then leave some doors open, and then they're announcing the TV series anyway. So they have now, 10 episodes to work with to kind of fill some gaps and close some doors, or even so still leave stuff open to, if they're going to do like a season 2, season 3 and continue with it. So I'm on the fence of where they're going to start now, but I'm open for either one. I don't put it in cinemas or put it on streaming. I'm going to be there to watch it, day one, obviously. So as long as it's handled well, details will start coming out, I guess, hopefully soon. Nothing too rushed. I'm interested to see the creative behind it. So I want to see like who's going to be writing, who's going to be production, who they're bringing back, score. Sure, I would love to see Carpenter and company come back to score it, but that's not really a deal breaker for me. So yeah, we'll see how they handle score. But yeah, as long as it's written well and it looks well, and they develop a good story for us, like I'm on board with that, and I got my fingers crossed, and I'm hoping for the best.
It looks like they're trying to keep up with Crystal Lake now. Crystal Lake
Yeah,
got the TV show. Yeah, maybe we should get a TV show too. And
yeah, it's kind of a trend, so I'm not opposed to it. And if we're gonna get
no,
Crystal Lake and Halloween, like relatively close, I mean that's just good for us as horror fans. So sign me up.
if that works, and then other horror fan. Well, Chucky already does it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of that TV show, but
Yeah,
it's still doing good. I mean, they could make I don't know, a Woodsboro TV show. I'm just saying that could
yeah.
be next. They could do that.
There's a
Never
lot of
ending.
avenues. Yeah, there's a lot of avenues they could do. I didn't get into the Chucky TV series too much. I think I tried to watch a couple episodes, but I think by episode 3 or 4 of the first season, I kind of tapped out a little bit. But
Yeah,
what are they up to, 3 or 4 now? They're done
yeah. I
the
think they're
third
on
season.
third season.
Wow.
I only watched the
Yeah,
first one and then I quit.
yeah, yeah. I heard they get better in 2 and 3. Uh, haven't checked them out myself yet. I have so much stuff coming in on the regular that I'm popping in all
Yeah,
kinds of discs. I just got the Ring trilogy up there behind me. That showed up early. I'm gonna get back into those. Killer Clowns was something I was waiting for, so that finally got announced. I got that on the way. That'll
me
be there
too.
in like May. Yeah, Killer Clowns was a great announcement. I'm stoked for that. What else? I got The Crow coming in when that comes out. So
Me too.
yeah, we'll see how The Crow comes out. I'm a little skeptical. I wanted to see a boutique get that, but it's coming from Paramount, so they've done pretty well for the most part. I think The Crow's in good hands with them. I don't know about the remake now though, like or whatever that's going to be with Skarsgård. I what did you think about the images, man? Like,
Well, the thing of it is, I just saw the original Crow for the first time like a month ago,
okay,
so I really don't have a connection to it like a lot of other people do.
mhm,
I mean, it was amazing, and I really did like it.
yeah,
I don't know how to feel about the images though. They look kind of weird. I don't know.
yeah, I'm on the
Looks like
fence.
I don't know. It's like a Lost
Yeah,
Boys vibe I get.
it's
I don't know where
different.
they're going.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical. Like, I'm still on the camp of okay, the images came out. I don't know who thought of the design or why that was the choice, but it is what it is. That's what they're giving us. If they still crank out like a good storyline and a good film,
Oh
okay,
well. Yeah.
yeah, like we'll give credit where it's due. Um, I was in to see it like day one at theaters. I love The Crow. Crow's incredible. I grew up on it, so I was stoked and concerned at the same time because I wanted to see how it was going to be handled.
Mhm.
And if you know the history of it, like they've been trying to reboot it and do something with it for years, and everything has always fallen through. So it finally, got greenlit, and then Skarsgård got announced to kind of step in the role of Eric Draven. So he did good with Pennywise, and overall, he's a hell of an actor. So I figured, okay, like
Give it a
he's good
shot.
hand. Yeah, why not? And now those images came out, and I'm like, I might wait for streaming. I don't know, but if it comes out, we get the Thursday night release, and then the opening weekend, and the reviews come back pretty good. I'll probably bite the bullet and head out like on a Sunday night and go check it out for myself, and hope for the best.
Does I'm actually not even. It comes out this year.
Yeah, pretty soon, I think.
Holy shit!
June. I think it's either May or June. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I think it's
Damn.
May or June. So it's not too far off. That's why we
Damn.
got those images already. Yeah, and I would expect a trailer probably fairly soon. But yeah, we'll see.
I'm sure they'll
Um,
show the whole thing, like they always
yeah,
do.
like all of trailers nowadays. Yeah,
Like every trailer that ever comes out. Yeah.
yeah, it drives me nuts, man. I'll watch a trailer once or twice maybe, and I have to tap out after that because they give so much away. And there's so much stuff I'd rather see in the theater for the first time instead of just everything being packed in the trailer. And then you go and you see the rest and it's kind of filler. And maybe it's not as good as you wanted it to be, or
Yeah.
it just doesn't have the same effect. But yeah, I try to refrain from trailers a lot now. I think the Ghostbusters trailers, like they look good. They sound good. you know, if anybody's like big on Ghostbusters, it's cool to be getting another movie so quick. But I think they went overboard with those trailers and just gave out so much that it's like, what else are we going to see once we get there?
Nothing.
Mm-mm.
I didn't see the last Ghostbusters. I don't even know if I've seen the original Ghostbusters.
Really?
Not my things.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I probably did.
Yeah.
I probably saw the first. How many is there total?
If we're being technical, this one coming out will be the 5th. So
And
you
I seen the shitty one, the
you saw
2016 one.
Answer the Call. Yeah, that one gets kind of ripped apart. That's like the black sheep of the franchise.
It was
But
not good.
yeah, that's what I hear. That's what I hear. And I still haven't even. Yeah, I don't think I'll waste my time with that. But yeah, I mean, you got the first two, and then you know we got Afterlife. I think was good. It for the most part it went over
That's
well.
right here.
Yeah, and then yeah, Frozen Empires in about 2 weeks, so that'll be out.
Damn, already.
Mm-hmm.
I too am not a Ghostbusters guy. I apparently was as a kid. Apparently had toys of it. I have no memory of ever liking it or the cartoon, but I have pictures of me with a bunch of Ghostbusters shit. So
I think I had
Nice.
toys too.
I heard you
Anyway.
guys talking about the Crow. You know, I
Little
think one of the real issues with that is if they would have just stopped after the tragedy of Brendan Lee,
Mhm.
the reception was amazing.
Yeah.
But then there was a bunch of horrifically put together B movie sequels that sunk the value of the franchise.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
and the fact they're hiding this one so much so close to release also has me a little worried. I seen those images too, and the
Mhm.
first thing I thought of was Jared Leto's Joker,
Yeah. It's
which is
crazy.
not high on my list. So
Yeah, beef.
yeah, so not a big fan of that. Matt, when we have you, I know you're probably running out of time, so are we. But let me ask you, what did you think of the Batman? Did you get a chance to see it? What did you think about that movie? Are you excited for the Penguin or the sequel? Maybe you didn't like it. Let us know what you thought about the Batman.
I saw
Favorite.
the Batman. I saw it opening day. It was fine. It was extremely long.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why I said that, because the Dark Knight movies were long too, so I don't really know why I said that, but I'm just a Dark Knight guy. The Dark Knight trilogy is my jam, and I couldn't get into the Batman. I tried. My friend was like, "It's the best Batman movie ever," and I was like, "It's fine." I don't know. I just didn't like it that much. It just seemed longer than it was, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of dragged.
It's a long movie. I don't know if it felt long to me while watching it, but it did end up, you run the risk of you go too long and you overstay your welcome a bit. And I thought that the weakest part of the movie was the final act. So
Mhm.
when that happens, not that they didn't stick the landing because the movie did well
Yeah.
enough. And, it's really, really fine piece of cinema. But I think, that's one movie that probably could have benefited from being 15 minutes shorter.
Yeah. Yeah. That runtime that's tough to get through. It's a lot of storytelling and story building, and
Yeah.
not a whole lot of action like we're used to. I think that's why the Dark Knight trilogy works so well, because you get a ton of action and a lot, like, the story's built into your action sequences, and it works really well. That 2.5 hours flies by. You get more of a detective story and backstory with this whole new Batman. And it's like you said, it drags a little bit. It worked for me for the most part. I enjoy it. I'm not like over the moon about it. 89 and Returns are definitely my top two go-tos. But after that, it's definitely Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, I think that for me, I only had the Batman behind the Dark Knight. And I
Yeah.
think the Dark Knight's just going to be really hard to
Oh yeah.
ever beat. I'm not saying it's impossible, because I think the second you say that, you're biting off more more than you can chew. But like when you think about how well that movie's put together, the sound design, the score, the acting, Heath Ledger's unexpected performance as Joker, like it's a lot in the movie, and yet it hits for me. The Dark Knight is probably the best comic book movie ever made.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's up there.
I'm trying to think of something that might kind of even give it a run for its money, and unless it's Batman 89,
That's good
maybe
too.
Yeah, maybe some of the older, like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, when they were coming out, they were a big deal. Um, Trying to think of some other comic book stuff. I have some stuff next to me on the shelf, but I'm looking, and I guess the only other thing I would throw in there is probably Joker. If you're into that story, dealing with mental health and what he went through, that standalone Joker movie is probably the next best bet to put up against The Dark Knight as, a comic book adaptation that's done extremely well.
Yeah, I have the Dark Knight followed by the Batman followed by the Joker.
Yeah.
I know people rag on DC, and I know that neither of those movies are DCEU, or whatever the hell they're calling it this week. But like we got the Joker, the Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy. None of that stuff was in the DC EU or whatever. And I know people rant and rave about the MCU, including my own kids. But like, if I have to choose between having the Dark Knight trilogy, the Batman, and the Joker over the MCU, I'm choosing the Dark Knight trilogy, the Batman, and the Joker. That's just me.
Yeah.
It's where my tastes are at this point in my life. But I thoroughly enjoyed both. Final question. We'll get out of here, guys. If there's one thing that you could definitively ask for and get with the Halloween TV series, what would that be? For me, mine's a big ask, but I want a experienced showrunner with a track record of success.
Yeah.
Not this could be good, but kind of like Brian Fuller, who's doing Crystal Lake. Like, hey, this guy did Hannibal, and Hannibal was received incredibly. So, give us something give us a talent like that is bringing this to life. I know, big ask, probably unreasonable, but that's mine.
I want the Shape back to be the Shape that he was in '78. I loved it. I loved David Gordon Green's version of Myers. I did. James Jude Courtney was fantastic, but I want the Shape we had in '78 back. I want him done that way. Mysterious, stalking, in the shadows. He's there, he's not there. I want that back. We'll see if we'll do it.
Yeah, I have to go ahead and agree with Matt there. We need OG Michael back for sure. Maybe some world building, but definitely character development. Let's tell a good story here across 10 episodes of a series. Build some stuff up, develop some people, and then shoehorn in our original Michael as we love to see him. I would love to see Cundy back to do the cinematography on it as well, because I think that'll just kind of seal the deal and at least give us something that feels really original, for a modern day series.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be huge. Anyways, that is going to do it for us this evening with Tonight in Haddonfield. Matt, what do you got going on, man? Where can everybody find you at, and when can they find you?
Facci Cinema is the name of the channel. Usually do my lives on either Tuesday or Wednesday nights. Actually going live tomorrow night, continuing my Texas Chainsaw watch-along series with the beginning tomorrow night. So looking forward to rewatching that one. It's been a great series for me. Had a lot of great guests on for it. Got a lot of interaction from the chat and everything. So it's going great. So that's where you can find me if you want to watch some Texas Chainsaw with some great people tomorrow night, 9:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Nice.
Definitely check that out, because we were going to do a watch along at 9:00 on this channel tomorrow, and we're not now. So check out what Facci's doing. The beginning, is it you're doing?
Yep.
Nice.
So check that out, dude. Thanks for taking your time tonight to join us. It was
Thanks for having me.
Discussion. But we appreciate your passion and your time, dude.
Thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate it. Good to see you guys finally.
Likewise. Yeah.
Dean, thanks for tonight, man. That was an impressive show and tell, dude. Where can everybody find you? What do we got going on?
Yeah, you guys can find me here weekly with Sean on Tonight in Haddonfield. You can probably find me tomorrow night, popping in on the match stream to watch some good old Texas Chainsaw. Check me out here, check me out there, and in Facebook or in the Legacy of Halloween Facebook group that Sean and I co-admin and run. And with the help of our new admins and mods, is definitely getting a lot better and easier to handle over there. So check us out in Legacy of Halloween and weekly here on Tonight in Haddonfield.
The big one that we're doing here at the channel is we're doing a Rob Zombie Michael Myers mask giveaway. April 8th is the date of the first stream. We're going to be on here with our good buddy and fellow staff member Chris Christensen, who is a longtime experienced Myers mask rehauler. And he's going to take this right from the very beginning to what you see on screen. Not in one stream, but over the course of a few streams. And then we're going to give that fucker away. And all you got to do right now is subscribe to our other YouTube channel, The Legacy of Halloween, and leave a comment on one of the videos over there. And if you did that after March the 1st, you're automatically qualified. Step number 2, there's no graphic for it tonight, but if you're listening, you'll know. Head on over to The Legacy of Westeros. It's another one of our YouTube channels based on around Game of Thrones content. Subscribe over there and leave a comment on one of the videos, any of your choosing. And if you did that after March the 1st, your name will be entered into the draw a second time. Stay tuned to next week to figure out how to get your name in the draw a third time. And the best part about this is you're going to see the mask come to life on air with us over the course of several weeks with our buddy Chris and just various other guests that we have coming up on the channel. But for Dean and Matt and the staff in the chat, I'm Sean. Have a great night. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time on Tonight in Haddonfield.